Good day to one and all. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for coming back to yet another episode of Sometimes the Old Man is Right. As usual, I am your host, Lamont Ferguson, playing the role of the old man that decided to clock back in, throw down some recordings on filament or cellophane. I don't know how recordings work. I think filament's for a light bulb. I'm doing it. I'm here. I clocked in. You know where we are? We're on episode 49. 49! Chugging our way to 50. Let's put 50 up on the board as a goal. 50 episodes. They said it couldn't be done. I don't know who they are, but they were almost right. But we're on 49. Season 4, episode 9, if you're paying attention to the show minutia. A lovely summer day here in Lakewood, California at the home office. How you been? It's been a while. You good? You all right? All is well? What's the good word? I'm okay. Thanks for asking. I'm well is what I am. I am better. I'm on the mend, boy, since last time talking to you fine folks, my faithful 9 listeners. It has been a struggle. You know me, it's about the pickleball, so let's get some pickleball stuff out of the way. I've not played in 3 weeks. 3 weeks it's been since I've played. Matter of fact, it's been over 3 weeks since I've stepped foot out on the court because I had an incident that resulted in elbow bursitis. Elbow bursitis, that sounds like something for old people. And I would have to check all the boxes. I'm an old person, and now I am recovering from it. Let me tell you, folks, you want nothing. You want no part of elbow bursitis. Good Lord, it made a grown man close to tears, is what it did, because it happened while I was on the ship, and I can't trace it back to when it happened. All I do know is I played pickleball on a Sunday in Ketchikan, and then on Tuesday, I could not move my arm, and nothing happened during the play that would have been detrimental that made me go, oh, that's going to be bad. That's going to hurt. No, nothing. Just a regular couple of hours of play, and then went back to the ship. And then Tuesday, it was on. Could not move the arm. It hurt so badly. Excruciating. To the point where I thought I was going to, it made me nauseous. I thought, wow, I've never experienced pain that made me nauseous. Well, now I have. Another box checked, came back, went to the ER, which, by the way, if you have not had the opportunity to go to the ER, you get yourself there. I've never been to the ER. I've been to urgent care, but I've never been to the ER. And it's just like on TV, except you're in it in a very unmemorable role, because I am an old man at the ER with a pickleball related injury. I am very far down on the triage list of we need to bring this guy in. All the things I heard back, I mean, yelling, it's just like I said, just like being on TV. You hear the yelling and the screaming and the cursing. It's insanity is what goes on back there. I don't even understand why people are like, I get it. You're in pain or you're uncomfortable, but this is your last chance of someone that's going to be able to help you. So I don't understand why they're so rude to the people. There were people back there, a lady just cursing at the nurses, insulting them. Lady, you understand? There's no other place for you to go. This is it. These are the people, whatever discomfort you're in, these are the people that are there to help you. You can't go, well, I'm going to take my business elsewhere. No. Well, go ahead. Get on with your bad self. Because these are the people that are there to help you. And you thought, well, I will insult these people. It's the very similar situation as to when they tell you that someone, like if someone is drowning, you have to approach them from behind to rescue them because they will drown both of you, fighting you to stay alive. That's very similar as to what I saw in the ER. This was at Kaiser. I'm in California. I've got Kaiser Healthcare. And a woman decided to be insulting. This is why Kaiser's so low rate. Lady, you're in Kaiser. She's like, this is why you guys have such bad reviews and you're so low rated. This is the ma'am, you're in Kaiser. This is what you can afford, is to be here in Kaiser. Probably wouldn't be wise for you to be insulting the hospital that you're in. Like I said, take your business somewhere else. I know I can't be a cop. Remember that episode I told you I couldn't be a cop because I could not have people not listening to me when I'm trying to tell them what the things are? Not for my own benefit. This is just how it is. I also could not be in the medical profession because it would take one time for somebody to yell at me like this woman was yelling at a nurse, calling her stupid and cursing at her, where I would just look at her and go, you know what? I believe I've forgotten all of my medical training. Where am I? What am I doing here? Is this for here or to go? I would just completely blank out. That would be my last day because I'm like, yeah, I can't help you. I don't know anything about medicine at all. So unless you have an order for fries, I can't help you. Because people have lost their doggone minds is what they've done. So I go in for the ER for elbow bursitis. Of course, I don't know it's elbow bursitis. I just know I can't move my arm. The doctor finally comes in, which I'm surprised that he even saw me. To tell you the truth, he's got his hands full. I'm like, you know what, doc, you could have just put a note in saying, I got my hands full. I felt like saying, by the time he came in, I felt like going, you know what, doc, I think I'm good. It's just an arm. You got a lot going on here. A lot going on here. This is just an arm. I'm good. I'll just immobilize it and throw some ice on it. Whatever it is need to be done. Which, by the way, was the remedy. He goes, you can ice it. There's not much we can do. You just sit and wait, and the body will heal. If it doesn't heal, then come back. But I told him I feel better today than I did previous days. He goes, all right, well, then you're on the mend. And that was that. Prescribed some ibuprofen and sent me on my way. The nurse came in and said, hey, thank you for your patience. And I told her the story. I'm like, there's a lot going on here. She's like, yeah, this is what this is every day. I'm like, holy mackerel. So no pickleball. All things I've read said, the doc says it takes, some people it's quick, some people it's not. It's somewhere between a 3 to 6 week recovery. So I'm halfway through. I've got 3 more weeks. There is still some slight swelling in the elbow itself, but I do have almost full range of motion now with a little discomfort. And that's where I sit. No pickleball for the pickleball comedian. Oh, ain't life cruel? Ain't it cruel? In the meantime, the truck keeps moving along. The comedy train just keeps chugging along the tracks. I drove out to Arizona, Surprise, Arizona, which I need to do the research as to why that name is so silly. But I went out there and did a show. I drove out and my car, decent car, functions, does what it needs to do, gets me from point A to point B. But the AC has stopped working. And I never really noticed because I'm never around enough to drive. I drive and drop Olivia off at school, and then I go to play pickleball during regular circumstances. So I'm never really in the car enough to go, oh, you need the AC fixed. But when you drive out to Arizona with no AC, at one point the reading was 113 degrees. 113 degrees. My clock and temperature are right next to each other. It read like an algebraic equation. At some point, it said 3:05 p.m., 113 F. I'm like, how do I solve this? I got to get all the numbers to one side and F on the other side? Oh, that was brutal. That was absolutely brutal. But I went out, did it, came back in the night so that I did not have to deal with it back, although I was coming back to cooler temperature. But, you do what you do. Comedy train stops for no one. Speaking of which, in a couple of days, it's back to ships. I was off a ship with enough time for my arm to heal to go back to work. So it didn't feel like there was a lot of time off at all. It never does. But this was even shorter because I was dealing with an injury and didn't get to do what, makes me happy, which is being active and playing pickleball. So I will head back to a ship. It'll be quite the travel because this time, no Alaska for me. It's the Mediterranean. I'm headed to Greece. Headed to Greece for 3 weeks. It's a nice itinerary. It's a lot of ports, a lot of Greece hopping, Greek island hopping is what it is. So 3 weeks of the same itinerary, and one stop is in Turkey. So that will be very, very exciting. I'm hoping because it'll be places I've not been before. I'll get to do it 3 times, each week, once each week, and then make my way back home. So hopefully I'll be able to settle into a routine and a schedule. And every time I stop in the port, I'll be able to go to see something I didn't see the previous week. So it gives me something to do. So I believe that this may be a little better than the monotony of Alaska or the Caribbean or wherever else it is that I have gone to this year that has made it such a drain. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. Greece, I'm a-coming. Get the Euros ready. Is that, I don't even know if is that a real Greek thing, the Euros? Or is that an American thing that America says is Greece? We shall find out, is what we shall do. The other thing that took place, what else we got on the docket? I wasn't playing sports, so I could watch sports, and the NBA Finals took place. Shout out to the New York Knickerbockers being NBA champions for the first time in 53 years, I believe is what it is. So New York is going crazy. Shout out to them. There was a point where I was rooting. I thought, is it possible to root for the Knicks, but against Knicks fans? And then I saw the emotion, like people crying. People were crying. And I thought, you know what? All right, Knicks fans. Good for you. Because if you are grown people that are crying, that emotional, and especially with one of the games where the Knicks came back from 29 points down, which was crazy. I mean, kudos to the Knicks for coming back from 29 points down. But a lot of that sits on San Antonio. You don't lose a 29-point lead unless you're just doing stupid things on the basketball court, which is kind of what they were doing. Launching up threes every shot. I think there was one point where they launched 9 straight threes. Didn't make any of them. Victor Wembanyama launched 3 on one possession. One possession, they kept getting the ball back, throw it to him, he launched another 3. 7 foot, 20 inches. He's out there shooting threes. Look, I'm gonna give you my expert opinion on basketball because I know things. I know funny. I kind of know pickleball, but I really know basketball. And I think Victor Wembanyama was exposed for his youth in this particular series because he seemed to be, he's the darling, he's the face of the league. Victor Wembanyama he's arrived, he's here. Well, he's 22 years old, and he's not ready to be the face of the league. He's 22 years old, and he makes a lot of immature mistakes. And it looks like, look, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist person, but it did look like there was a lot of protecting him out there. That him putting his foot into the landing space of Jalen Brunson, I don't know when that's not been called. They are specifically looking for that call, to look for the landing space to be open and someone not to put their foot there. And he put his foot there deliberately, and the refs went, yeah, we didn't see it. Like, you didn't see the biggest dude on the court put the biggest shoe on the court in the landing space of one of the smallest dudes on the court? Okay. The foul where he shoved Jalen Brunson, and not even a foul. They didn't even call it. And then the league reviewed it and said, yeah, we're good. I've not seen anyone get protected as much as this dude did. And he showed that he's young and he's not there yet. I'm really tired of hearing we are caught up in the moment thing and the whole idea of, he's great. He's great. He's not great. He's good. He's very good, but he is nowhere near great. Steph Curry's great. LeBron James is great. But Victor Wembanyama is pretty good. Let me know in 3 years. The Joker is great. Luka's great. Let me know in a couple of years where Victor Wembanyama is. Because right now, he's just very good. The best player on the San Antonio Spurs team is Harper. Dylan, I think Dylan's his first name. Dylan Harper is the best guy. That guy feared no one. He is going to the hole. He's going to the hoop. And he's a rookie. He's not great either, but he's better than Wembanyama is. People are enamored with Wembanyama's skill set and his potential. But Dylan Harper is the dude on that team. He's the best player on the Spurs. He was the best player in the series for the Spurs. And speaking of best players, shout out to OG Anunoby. Anunoby, not Anunoby. Anunoby. OG Anunoby. When you have a guy like a Victor Wembanyama who's swatting everything in the middle, when guys start going into the middle and then turning around and coming back out of the middle, then the center is won. He's won because he's won on reputation. No matter what, I'm going to block your shot, so you're not even going to come in here. And that's what a lot of the Knicks were doing. They'd come in, and then they turn around and leave. Not Anunoby. Why can't I say that correctly? Not OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby was like, I don't care how big you are, and I don't care how many times my dunk gets blocked, but I'm going to get you. And he did. He got him a couple of times. Threw the ball down. And that's how you got to attack a player like that, especially a guy that's 19 feet tall and weighs 12 pounds. I do long for the days of when I could play basketball. I do miss it. I miss that game quite a bit. As much as I do love pickleball, pickleball is just the closest I've gotten to be able to play basketball. But I cannot play basketball still. So that's what it's taken the place of. But I do miss the game of basketball. I miss every aspect of it. I miss being able to run. I miss being able to jump. That's what I miss. So shout out to the Knicks. Job well done. And speaking of sports and things that you miss, I still do the pickleball comedian thing. Shout out to pickleballcomedian.com. You can check out all your pickleball comedian things there. A lot of interviews, a lot of stuff like that. So I've not been able to play, but I still have footage on hard drives that splices up, and I throw out the interview stuff. And at one point in time, while I was in Juneau and went out to lunch with some players there and just ran a camera and we just had a chat about pickleball, and I would take the excerpts and put it into minute and a half or minute long clips and throw them up. There was one point where we were complaining about lobs. I always complain about lobs, but it is what it is. If you want to beat me, lob it over my head because I can't move. So but these are other players that were also complaining about the same thing. So I put that clip up, and someone commented on the clip saying, "Boomers complaining about lobbing." First of all, I don't know if they were boomers. Boomers is the generation ahead of me. So therefore, no, they weren't boomers now that I break it down. But that's the thing for young people. They just call everyone boomers because that's the oldest thing they can think of. But meanwhile, it's not correct because they're not boomers. They're Generation X is what it is. But, again, it's that idea that people like, boomers complaining about lobbers or lobbing. Ha, ha, ha. Look, I've said this many times. I'll say it again. Old is the goal. And I said this when I was young. You can look at the special Cranky, which I closed with this whole idea that we need to stop using old as a pejorative term. I get that that's funny to go, look at those old people. Well, that's where you're trying to get, you dummy. Everyone has their window in life. That's how it works. We are not all operating at the same time and at the same stage of the game in life. We're not. But we had our moment. We had our moment. If you're old now, if you're Generation X now, or even a baby boomer now, at one point in your life, you were young. So the idea that young people brag about being young just because you happen to be in the moment of the movie that you're young, you're a fucking idiot. We all had moments of being young. Just that happens that we right now are operating the same plane where this group isn't young anymore and you're young. You're only young for a very brief moment in time. As I say, you think you'll be young forever, but the truth is you will be old forever. You will be young for a fleeting moment. So instead of sitting around mocking old people because they're not currently young, because your dumbass doesn't understand how a life cycle works, maybe you should do something with your youth. Maybe talk to old people to find out what the pitfalls are, because at one point they were young. Good Lord, you're dumb. We were all young at some point in time. All the things that you do right now, that you go, oh, I'm young, look what I can do, we've already done. And our moment has passed. We can't do it anymore. And your moment is coming to where you won't be able to do it anymore. That's the problem. The problem is the mindset of young people that believe, oh, that won't happen to me. And I wish we could all just take receipts, keep receipts on these jackass young people that boast about being young, to the point when they are old to look at them and go, remember that time when you were making fun of old people because you could do those things? I'm going to bring in a young person now to make fun of you. It's quite an interesting race. Life is quite an interesting race indeed. Old is the goal. The goal in life, to win in life, you try to get as old as you possibly can. And if you can still do things at an age where you could, still be active, kudos to you. Hats off to you. When I played pickleball on that Sunday, the last time I played, which was in Ketchikan. My partner, he told me later on, was 83 years old. I had no idea that he was 80 anything years old. But for an 83-year-old, guy was pretty solid with his movement. Of course, there are balls that he couldn't get, but I don't know if I could get those balls with my knees that he couldn't get to, but he got to everything else. And we were undefeated. I think we played together 2 times and we didn't lose. And the people on the other side were nowhere near 83. So if you can get there, kudos. That's why you sit here around playing the pickleball. That's why the whole idea. Like I don't know if I said this before, but it's worth saying again, seeing how I'm on the topic. When somebody puts boomers are complaining about lobbing, look here, you young idiots. When this game came to the forefront, the reason why people go, oh, it's just old people playing the game is because it was just old people playing the game. Because there was something that we could still do. We're like, hey, look at this. This is fun. And we can still do this. That's kind of cool. And then the pandemic comes around, and then young people came into the game, and now the game has changed quite a bit to where if you're old, you have to adapt to a younger person's type of game. It's not a lot of dinking and stuff. Now it's a lot of power and a lot of athletic ability. But this was our thing, old people's thing. Then young people, hey, they came and jumped in over here, and we didn't shoo them away. We welcomed them. And then some of them have the temerity, the unmitigated gall to then mock the people that welcomed them into a game that they are now playing. The nerve, the absolute nerve. But we still play. We still do it. But yeah, at one point in time, we could do all those things. We're just in the stage of life where we can't anymore. Kudos to you that you can do it. You look like a child saying, look at me, look what I can do. And adults are going, yeah, that's not a big deal. There was there was a men's group that I played with, and a guy who's under 30, good player, solid player, because he's under 30. In between games, he's jumping over the net. Really? We're showing off that you can jump 3 feet up over a net? Okay. Well, we all could have done that at some point in our lives. You act as if you're the first man on the moon. Calm down. Everything you're doing has been done before. Calm down. All right. Should have got out the old man alert warning on that whole thing. That's what I should have been doing. We need to bring back shame. Can we bring back shame? Is it possible? Is that the shame horse out of the barn that we can't bring it back? Because we need to bring it back because it was helpful in society. Now there's no shame. There's no punishment for what it is that you may do that is outside of what used to be a societal norm. Now, granted, there was a lot of things that were outside of societal norms, which are good that we don't do anymore. There's a lot of stuff. Civil rights, racism, stuff against the LGBTQ community. And by the way, shout out to the LGBTQ folks for Gay Pride Month. A lot of people had to live in hiding just to be themselves. So there's a lot of things, and that was normal. That was the normal type of society. So that's good that a lot of that is gone. But some needs to be brought back. Some stuff needs to be brought back where people there's just, like I said, there's no consequences for behavior. Oh, back to the NBA Finals. Game 1 of the NBA Finals, a guy ran out onto the court. I don't know if you were watching. There was a fan ran out onto the court next to Wemby and then was busy taking a selfie. And then he's on his way. For the next day or two till the next game, every sports show was busy complaining about the guy. Oh, that guy's a jackass. That guy just stupid. Excuse me, this is the society we made. Don't sit there and complain about it, because this is what we all had a hand in helping do. That guy, they go, well, he's banned, and that'll show him it doesn't matter. Mission accomplished. He got onto the court, he took the picture, and now he's on his way. It doesn't matter if he is banned from basketball games for the rest of his life, because he accomplished the task. The picture taken and in the cloud, so you have no access to that picture. He will put that picture when he's out of the short stint in jail from the one night of arrest. He'll put that on there and he'll go, hey, I'm the guy that ran, and he will just amass followers. Bad behavior is rewarded in today's society. That's what you did when you got rid of shame. Now it doesn't matter. It does not matter what you do, because in the end, there will be a reward. Run out onto the field. All right, I can get followers with that. Hell, I can monetize that. Turn those followers, and once that happens, I start getting paid for posts. I'm the guy that ran onto the court. That's all you need to be, is that guy. Mission accomplished. Like I said, there is no reward in good behavior. There is no reward in being smart. There is only a reward in poor behavior and being dumb as a bag of rocks. Welcome to America. But it's not new. This is the America that's been brewing for 40 years. I'd say 40 years we've been brewing this. And now the tea is ready. Ah, it's delicious. Perfectly steeped. It is some tasty tea. Some tasty, dumb tea. Which leads me to the big topic. Everyone's talking about it. I thought, let me jump on and give my half a cent. I watched, which I never do, I watched the UFC on the White House lawn match. I don't know if I've ever watched any more than maybe a fight or maybe even a round of UFC. It's not for me. I watch boxing, and I don't know why, to me, boxing seems less brutal, or just because it's something I grew up with and I'm more familiar with. UFC seems very brutal to me, and I don't like it. I mean, I'm not against people that are UFC fighters or anything like that, but it's not for me. It's not my thing. So I watched the White House one with the Trump and the 250-year celebration for Trump's birthday, which, by the way, President Trump's birthday is June 14th, which also is the birthday of my great-grandmother, Nora Anderson, who, if you know me, you know she sits on a pedestal that no one else is above. No other human being is above. And so every June 14th, shout out to my great-grandmother, who is the greatest human being I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. And I miss her every single day. So the fact that President Trump and her share the same birthday is a cruel joke, as far as I'm concerned. So I watched this spectacle, and then I was live commenting on it while it was going on. And I don't think anyone else was watching it. They were just kind of going, "Oh wow, that's crazy." I think I may have brought eyeballs to it, that people tuned in to watch because of me. There was nothing else on. The baseball games had finished, basketball season was over, so there was nothing else on. I found it interesting that the fighters were entering from the White House. I just thought it was going to be a thing that took place on the White House lawn. But no, they were entering. Some were coming in the front door all the way through the White House to out the back door. One guy looked like he got lost. He's like, do I go this way? I'm like, oh, great. This guy's going to be lost. He's not going to miss the fight because he's lost in the White House. Some of the entrances were so long, I think it was borderline occupation of the White House is what it was. But it was just surreal. Just a surreal thing to watch MMA fighters come through the White House and have our armed forces saluting them as they came through the White House. What? We're saluting fighters? I thought the salute was a very cherished, honorable, pristine. It doesn't go to anyone. Matter of fact, there used to be times where I would go onto the Marine base, Camp Pendleton, and I would see them salute some of the people were coming through, like those were officers coming through, and I would just go like, oh man, I wish I did something. I wish I could get saluted. These guys got saluted, but I know I wasn't going to get saluted. There was nothing worthy. I don't have a background that I would get saluted. These guys, every single one of them got multiple salutes as they just walked through the White House. Then the thing with the dude, I don't remember the dude's name, nor do I care about making sure his name was correct. But the guy who in the post-fight interview, by the way, the guy he lost to, that fat dude, that guy got wrestled to the ground and sat on and then kind of slapped about the head and punched. And then he got winded. He got winded from being sat on. That's how out of shape that dude was that this dude fought. Just a fat dude that he wrestled him to the ground and then he, I can't. Okay, dude, maybe mix in some cardio in your training. You can't just walk up to everybody and just like Mongo punching out a horse in blazing saddles. Maybe get some conditioning in there because you lost to a guy because you were too fat to be in the ring is what it was. Butterbean laughed at you, dude. But anyway, the guy who I can't. Hang on a second. I'll find this dude. Josh Hokett. I hate the fact that I had to look up the guy's name and then give him more publicity by saying his name. But I couldn't remember the other guy's name, and me keep saying the guy and the other guy, the guy, the other guy. It was a bit too confusing. So Josh Hokett is the guy that won the fight against Fatty McFat dude. Yeah, I'm shaming that dude because you're supposed to be an athlete and all you were was fat. And I'm a fat man, so that gives me the right to be able to call it something. Which, another thing about that guy. That guy, his nickname was the Black Beast. Come on, dude. He's black, yeah. The Black Beast. In a time when racial tension is not at an all-time high, because I think it was a point when it was at a higher tension than we got now, but still not great, still not the greatest. It's better, but not great. I don't know if I told you this, but hell, I got called the N-word 2 months ago, just driving, went to turn. Some guy yelled at me, go N-word. Like, all right. So we still have that going on. Don't act like it's not. So it is still going on. But your nickname is the Black Beast during a time when black people aren't even viewed as being human in the first place. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to go with the Black Beast. Okay, you dude, have another serving of food, you fat idiot. So that guy loses to Josh Hokett. Josh Hokett, after the match, says two things. Now, everyone is upset about the one thing that he said. Everyone's upset because the last thing he said was, Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right, America? And people cheered. And then when I saw it live, I was stunned. I was like, wow. And I was waiting for the reaction from broadcasters or from Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan just smiled, and the broadcasters said nothing. And I was like, wow. And then, like I said, people were cheering. And then I went on someone's page and I saw the comments, and most of the comments I saw were like, oh, of course. Yeah, that we already know that. I mean, just positivity raining on that thing. I was shocked that he did it. I wasn't shocked that it was said. What I was shocked by was the thing he said right before. Right before, he said, there's only one person that sits above everyone else, and that is my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And then he proceeded to say the thing about Michelle Obama. Right before that, he professed, I give honor and praise to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. In essence, professing that I am a Christian. I am a Christian with Christian teachings and Christian beliefs, Christian methodology. And then he proceeded to say that Michelle Obama, something derogatory about the former First Lady. That was the most troubling thing to me. That was the most telling thing to me, because that is the issue. The issue is that this duplicitousness from so-called Christians that are playing in the end of the pool that thrives on racism and bigotry and chauvinism and superiorness, that type of white superiority BS, and all's under the guise of I'm a Christian. No, you're not. You're not a Christian. Matter of fact, you're the most duplicitous person that I've ever seen. And all of you, I'm not leaving any of you out. If you support Trump under the guise that he's a Christian, I'm going to tell you right to your face, you are a fucking goddamn liar. You are. Because that dude used Jesus' name and then something insulting to the former First Lady that was entrenched in bigotry and racism. It's also funny that I keep hearing people talk about, well, this has been debunked. Debunked? Why would it need to be debunked? What? Someone says she's a man, and then it has to be proven that she's not a man? She said she's a woman. We all have eyeballs. Just because the one side, by the way, it is steeped in racism because of the fact that the standards of beauty in America, or in the world, let's not even say America, in the world, have been put upon as being white standards of beauty. When you look at someone and they go, oh, look at that, that is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. It has to do with her skin tone and her features. So when you look at the black person or any other person, if they don't have lighter skin tone or what we call white features, thin nose, cheekbones, blah, 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 then we don't view that as being beautiful. I take that back. I don't say we, because I am not in this mess with you fucking idiots. The society does not view it as being beautiful. Go look at any other country. Go look at a lot of Asian countries and look at how much money is in the skin lightening arena. Skin lightening products. See how much money is put into that, because people are trying to get to the white standard of what beauty is. So that's why think, oh, well, she's a man. And I remember seeing when Trump was elected and someone specifically putting, oh, now we have a finally a good looking woman in the White House. One, chauvinistic, because that's what your whole idea. You should be worried about how the country is run, but you need to have someone good looking to look at. I don't really find Melania Trump very good looking. I don't. There's something odd about her. Maybe when she was younger, she was better looking, but I don't find her to be better looking than Michelle Obama. That's your taste. But to say just standard, yes, that's a much better looking one. No, she's not. And to also say, to be denigrating to Michelle Obama, saying, oh, she's a man. Excuse me, you idiots. We've seen the first lady naked. We seem to forget that. We have seen Melania Trump naked. Naked. Adult. Naked. Spread out in a magazine. Naked. That's what we've seen of this first lady. But you want to take shots at Michelle Obama when we've seen the current first lady naked? I'm so tired of this nonsense. I'm tired of white people telling black people what's racist and what's not. I know you like to think that it's not because you invented it. Maybe not you personally. Okay, because these are the same people that go, I didn't own slaves. Okay, we've already gone through this. I'm not surprised because that's what this is now. Bad behavior is rewarded. Stupidity is rewarded. Nobody has to take responsibility or accountability for anything at all whatsoever. The only reason there's any backlash coming afterwards is because enough people complained about it. And the truth is, maybe enough white people complained about it. Because if black people had complained about it, it still wouldn't have gotten any attention. Nobody would have cared. No one would have cared at all. So this dude, again, like the guy that ran out onto the court, mission accomplished. It is not about what happens next. He had the moment. The moment was done. And now people are like, yeah, that guy's right. I like that guy. I'm going to follow that guy. That guy's it. Mission accomplished. Because of some trope based in racism. About Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama has not even been in the White House in 3 administrations. Yeah, 3 administrations. She's living rent-free in these idiots' heads. MAGA's heads, the Obamas are still living rent-free in their heads. If you are still blaming the Obamas for stuff 3 administrations ago. All right. Have at it. Like I said, with your duplicitousness of I'm a Christian, the fuck out of here with your bullshit. I don't care what you are. What I'd rather you be is honest. And that is what you're not being. Because don't you tell me that Trump is a Christian. I voted for him because he's a Christian. Really? What Christian methodology does he live by? 3 times married, documented that he's cheated on every single one of his wives. Well, which one is that? Where do I find that in the Bible? Let me know. Just say what it is, but quit hiding behind the guise of Christianity. Because as someone who went to a lot of church as a kid, a lot of church, I know what the teachings are. I know what the Bible says. You aren't talking to a dude's not talking to you that has not spent a day in church. A dude's talking to you that has spent so many days in church. So many days. And I know what it's supposed to be about. And I know that a lot of you aren't living it. But you'll be the first ones to throw it up as your first shield to protect you from the shitty life that you're living. I also saw, because I put, this is crazy that there's a fight on the White House lawn. Someone put up saying, oh, this is not the first president that did it. Teddy Roosevelt used to do it. And then they put up a thing about it. It's like, first of all, someone had to tell you that. Don't tell me that when that happened, that you were like, oh, well, Teddy Roosevelt, thank goodness you're bringing back the Teddy Roosevelt days. Really? Ain't nobody ever given a thought to Teddy Roosevelt in I don't know how long. Maybe when you go to a national park, you realize that Roosevelt was responsible for the advent of the national park system. Maybe. I highly doubt that many of you even know that. But the fact that Fox News told you Teddy Roosevelt did this, and you're like, oh, that's a good fact I can run with online. Shut up. What we're talking about is that this is a spectacle that we've never seen. Not in our lifetime. And that's really the marker of what it should be. The person that put up, oh, Teddy Roosevelt did this. I said, Teddy Roosevelt also participated in those matches. Teddy Roosevelt was a boxer. That was a wild man. Teddy Roosevelt was a wild man as president. If you know anything about Teddy Roosevelt, he was helping participate in boxing matches that he put out on the lawn. But Trump ain't participating in these matches. You already know that. So to use that as your defense, he's not the first president. Oh, really? Tell me something else about Teddy Roosevelt that you know that wasn't told to you as a little tidbit from Fox News. Because I guarantee you, you don't know shit about Teddy Roosevelt. I just taught you more about Teddy Roosevelt than you had known in your entire life. I've had it. I don't care what you do. Just be honest for the reasons that you're doing it. Don't hide behind facts that you just learned off of a Snapple bottle. Just be honest with your feelings. We were doing a show, Lewis Johnson and I were doing a show, and I had said I liked when Trump was in office because then the people who were racist felt emboldened about being racist, and I knew where they were. And a friend of mine who was on the show, Alonzo Bowden, very funny, you may know Alonzo Bowden, he said, no, I'd rather them go back into hiding, which I thought, no, I want them out in the open. That's where I need them, is out in the open, so I know where they are. In hiding is where they were. And so when something would happen, you go, I think that feels like that was racially motivated. And then they can say, oh, no, it wasn't. It's and you go, well, I'm feeling like it was. And that's the problem, because now it's right out in the open, which is better than always having that tinge, that feeling of, was that? I think it was. Maybe. I think kind of. I'm in Arizona. Not this particular trip. This is a memory thing. I'm in Arizona. I am coming home from a gig. I stop at the Motel 6, and my car at the time, there was a problem with my transmission. No, problem with my starter. So it was a stick shift. So if I turned my car off, I couldn't start it, but I could bump start it. You know, if you have a manual transmission, you could just push a car, get it going, pop the clutch, and the car starts. So I had to park in a spot where I had to have enough room to be able to do that. I was tired. I was going to get a room. Sign said vacant. I stop in. I come to the counter. I said, yeah, I'd like a room. And the guy looks at me and he goes, yeah, we don't have any rooms. I said, what? He goes, yeah, we don't have any rooms. Meanwhile, the sign is vacant. I'm pretty sure there's a switch right down there you could just hit that says no vacancy. I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and I'm angry. I go up the road just a little bit. I find a payphone, and I call. Now, I don't give the sound off of the stereotypical black voice of whatever it is. I said, yeah, do you guys have rooms? He said, yeah, we have rooms. I go, oh, okay. I got in my car and I drove back there and I walked up and I said, yeah, I'd like a room. I was the guy that just called. And I said, I don't know what's going on in this state. What's going on? He goes, oh, no, it's because you parked back there and it's always there. Meanwhile, that's the bullshit part. You didn't do it because I was black. You may have not done it because I was black and where I parked, but you could have also asked me, why did you park there? And I could have told you. But you went, there's a black guy and he parked it to the side. I'm going to fill in all the extra work as to what I believe this guy is. See, I'd have left if had I not called and thought, I think that was racial. I think maybe that was racial. And I wouldn't have known for sure. But when I called, I knew for sure. I like knowing for sure. I don't like the idea of the whole hiding BS. The whole idea of people talking about, I didn't own slavery. The people, they're always talking and complaining about race. Just take a look at the history, man. Just take a look at it. Take a look at the history of not millions of years ago. I'm talking 40 years ago. No, let's say 50 years ago. Maybe 60. People moving, a black family moves into an all-white neighborhood, and the entire neighborhood comes out to protest, calling them the N-word to their faces, spitting on them, saying, we don't want you in our neighborhood. That wasn't hundreds of years ago. It wasn't. That was the 60s in America. And not in rural America. That was the 60s in an actual town. That was repeated throughout towns. Hey, black people are moving in. We can't have that. Just based on the color of our skin. So quit telling me about racism is over. Quit telling me about you didn't own slaves, because those people that came out in the streets and was saying N-words don't belong here, those were your goddamn grandparents is who they were. That's who that was. Your grandparents that sat there and kept pouring all that hatred into your parents, who may or may not have poured that hatred into you. But you heard it. You're aware of the bias and the stereotypes and the bigotry. And some of that may have stuck. So stop telling black people and people of color that it's over with and you didn't do it and shut the fuck up. This ain't your lane. It's not. It's not your lane. You don't get to tell me what I've experienced and how my life is different just because it makes you uncomfortable. Every day, minorities have got to spend being uncomfortable. Every day. Every day, walking around to make sure white people are comfortable, because white people being uncomfortable ain't a good thing. It's not good for anybody, by the way. Just look it up historically. White people being uncomfortable ain't good. You go through life. Somebody comes here from a country with a different name. What's your name again? All right, can I call you Sam? Because I can't say Sanji. Okay, white person, you can call me Sam because it makes you more comfortable. I've seen clips on TikTok and the social media clips, which, by the way, what a great invention that was, social media. I will, till the day I die, I will be talking about how horrible social media was, given the access to everybody. Everybody? That's a horrible idea. Someone said, I must have heard 4 different languages in a store. I got to feel uncomfortable because in my own country, I can't hear. Okay, lady, how about maybe broadening your horizon and learning other languages? Now, I get it. I get it. You're in America, you expect English. But unless you were talking to those people and dealing with those people, then what is the business of yours? What does it matter to you what they were speaking? And hell, we got technology right now that if you just listen, It'll translate it for you right on the spot. Then you can find out what people are talking about. You go to a different country, you go, hey, I'm going to talk to my phone. Here's the language. And then I'm going to show you the phone. And then the phone will talk to you. You say what you need to do. Then it comes back to me. I know that's a bit much for you. I know. It's too much. But this whole idea of like, I don't know what's going on. You could know what's going on, but you choose not to. In this beautiful country that has an 8th or 9th grade reading comprehension level. That's what we got, by the way. I can't fix it, people. I can't fix and get us up to our potential. I can't do it alone. And the people who have the power to do it, truthfully, we don't want to be bothered. Because there's too many of the stupid people out there. You feel overwhelmed. You're like, I don't know where to start with all this stupidity. So let me just keep to myself. It's how it works. I still have hope. I still have hope that we will achieve our potential at some point in time. We will flip the script, bring back shame, bring back good behavior being rewarded, bring back manners, maybe is what it is. Decorum is the word I'm looking for. Decorum. We need a national decorum policy is what it is. I find it because on a ship, there's a lot of eye contact being made. And every time you get in an elevator, there's other people in the elevator. Everyone says good morning and stuff. People will talk and say stuff to people like, a lot of times it's just nonsense, small talk, but there's an acknowledgement. And I know in parts of the country that takes place, like the Midwest, if you're walking down the street, someone will say hello to you. Not in California, just no one says anything, head down, no one says anything. But it does help. I find that a smile helps. You smile at somebody. You don't have to be weird about it. Just a smile breaks the tension and the ice of people going, oh, okay, I guess this person's not going to kill me unless they're really psycho. It'd be nice at some point if we just realize that we're all going through the same thing. And most of us just want the same thing. You want to provide for your family. You want your children to have a better life and opportunity than you did. And you just want to get along. Oh my goodness. This is the point of pickleball, people. You walk out there and you don't even know people. You just know that your common ground is that you guys enjoy playing pickleball. And everyone gets along. I have yet to hear. I've played for 7 years. I've never heard a single political conversation out on a pickleball court. Not once. Not once. Because the game of pickleball is so intricate and so frustrating and so many levels of nuance that you end up spending your time talking about pickleball and all the little things that you could have been doing and what you're trying to do and stuff like that, that you don't have time for the nonsense. You just don't. I wish we could all, if I had one wish for the country, that we all had the understanding and the same type of common ground as pickleball. We do. We all want what's good for, like I said, our family and your children. You go about it in a different way. But we're all going through it. Doesn't matter where you are in life. Hey, young people, stop jumping around. I've already spent all my jumps. But we're all going through this together. Same goal is the pursuit of happiness. Same goal for every single person. All right. We've gone over an hour. I didn't think we were going to make it. At minute 14, I thought, there's no way I'll be done in 20 minutes. Nope. Folks, you can find all things Lamont Ferguson at lamontferguson.com and pickleballcomedian.com. You can find a schedule on there. You can contact me if you need me to come in and do your pickleball event. You need some comedy. You need someone to host an award ceremony or be a part of the Pro-Am celebrity type of tournament thing. Get at me. Holla at me. Pickleballcomedian.com. You can email the show at oldmanisright60, oldmanisright60 at gmail.com. Let me know what's happening there. I appreciate every single one of you. All 9, the mighty 9. If there's still 9, maybe after this podcast, we may be down to 5. I don't care. I don't care. This is therapeutic for me, is what it is. If you're, like I said, if you listen, I appreciate you listening. I hope you have a great week, or whenever it is the next time that I talk to you. I'll try to get back at you in a week. We'll see. I'll be in Greece. I'll be doing Greek things. I'll be trying to find out what the secret to the Grecian formula is. Is that still a thing? Grecian formula? That's huge. That's what I'll be doing. So you can contact and follow anything at the Pickleball Comedian moniker on social media. Folks, I have talked about a lot of things today. One thing I was a little bit more fired up. There was a lot of F-bombs in the show. I apologize for that. But, I was fired up because it just gets me a little fired up. The duplicitousness, that's another time I use that word. The hypocrisy of some people. Just be honest. Just be truthful. So I apologize for the profanity. A lot of profanity in this one. Sorry. I talked about a lot of things. Talked about a health update. Talked about going to the ER. Talked about going to Arizona with no AC. Talked about my work schedule and I'm headed to Greece. I talked about mainly about racism and the UFC and whatever we're dealing with in this country and the hypocrisy of some folks. And some of those things, I could have been wrong about. I could have been wrong about it. Hey, maybe I don't know much about Christianity as I thought I did. And these are parts of the tenets. You can have bigotry and chauvinistic and all this other stuff. Maybe I'm wrong about Victor Wembanyama. Maybe he's great. Maybe I'm just an old man that doesn't understand basketball anymore. Could be. Could be wrong about all of it. Then again, you know the deal. Sometimes the old man is right. I'll see you next time.